Good day to all you YouTubers out there. My name's Brian and this is Searching for Tone. This is a channel that's dedicated to all those beginning guitarists out there, whether you're young, old, or like myself, who has had a constant on and off again relationship with the guitar. It's so on and off again, I feel like Elizabeth Taylor. And if you don't know who that is, then it's your generation's Taylor Swift. So today I'd like to discuss 10 topics. I actually had 15, but I shortened the list down to keep the video at a shorter length, of some tips or techniques that I find that will be helpful for all of us as we're beginning that journey of playing guitar again. There are things that I wish I knew when I started many years ago, and hopefully they help prevent you from having those on and off again relationships with the guitar. The first one I'd like to talk about is protecting your assets, and that I mean the whole head, shoulders, knees, and toes. And basically what I mean is that, any injury to one of these or any parts of your body or multiple injuries could prevent you from playing the guitar. Say you're outside doing yard work and you don't wear your protective goggles and you get a cornea abrasion by getting poked in the eye with a stick. Now, you may be able to sit down and just play by feel and not actually visualize what you're playing, but if you're learning from guitar tablature or sheet music, that may prevent you from really progressing. And you might be laid up for like a week or two. And after you recover from that, say you're downstairs and you're chopping up some onions in your kitchen, using a dull knife, you slip and you get yourself a cut, or even like a really nasty paper cut. That may prevent you from fretting the notes on the guitar, and now you're laid up for another week. Then you throw in life, mix things out, you could go out with your friends, vacation, things like that. You're looking at 2-3 months that you might not be playing the guitar just because you didn't do some simple things to prevent yourself from further injuries. So just like in the fire service, we look out for each other and we make sure you're not going to fall in that hole when you're cutting on a roof. And we want to make sure that we keep yourself safe. The next topic, number 2, I'd like to talk about is warming up. Now, it's something that I did not do in my very beginning stages of playing guitar. And I wish I did do it, because since I started picking up the guitar again, it's only been about a month or so, I've been warming up, doing hand stretches. I'm not talking about like you're ready to run, a 100 miles or anything like that, but just like, simple like wrist exercises of stretching, the individual fingers, and things like that. I would venture to say there's not too many people out there that you'll see on YouTube or they're professional players that may admit that they stretch. They might do stretches and they might not, but some of them may end up later in the years with carpal tunnel syndrome or injuries to their hands, real problems playing. I would venture to say that if you find somebody out there that is playing and has been stretching for a while, that they haven't had any real injuries, or maybe never any injuries. Also, the ergonomics of playing. When I used to play all the time, I used to stretch my hand out so much like this, and I could feel, even now as I do it, tightness in my wrist. Now, some players will say that, oh, you just work through it, there's no pain, no gain, and eventually it'll go away. But since I just started keeping my elbow closer in and fretting more up and down, I've noticed a significant difference between that and warming up. So I'm going to keep on doing it and hope you do too, to help. Next I'd like to talk about is a proper setup. And by that, it doesn't have to be an expensive guitar. Even the beginner guitars, a lot of times when they come out, they might not be set up properly. You'll notice like something at the nut height, which is the top portion of your guitar right here. It may be set a little high just because they just slapped it in there and didn't groove it out, or didn't even properly fit it to there. So it gets harder to push up here. So when you're pressing harder on the guitar, it causes, a little bit more pressure, a little more pain. Maybe the discomfort might discourage you from playing, the simple chords up here, up top. String height is a big thing. Talking about like millimeters, pushing down. If it's up too high, that's much more energy you got to exert. And also the slower that you might potentially play, because you have to overcome that release. And when we're talking about millimeters, even with a pick, get yourself a good amount of picks. When they start getting worn down, you throw out the pick and get a new one. You'll notice a significant difference, because the nub of the pick isn't worn down and it's easier to play. Number 4 I like to talk about is getting organized. And over here, we're kind of getting set up right now. So you see there's little stuff that needs to still be hung up, stuff like that. But I have a nice desk, and I have a off site over here from the camera. There's a file folder, and I have a cabinet that I can roll out right here. And it has a whole bunch of file folders that I can file away blank pieces of tablature or scales that I might want to work on, or diagrams. And it's nice, neatly, and tucked away. It helps with you being able to find what you're looking at to do, and you stay focused, and you're not deterred from having to go into a closet to get out a binder and pull out what you want to work on for the day. If it's there, ready, organized for you, good to go, and you could rock on just like that. Number 5, along with the previous tip I talked about, is having your gear at the ready. I have the luxury of having a nice little section cast away from my significant other that I could set up shop and have my guitar, my amp ready to go. Some of us might not be so lucky. I know when I first started, I had my guitar tucked away in a little, like, practically next to the washer and the dryer of an apartment, or my downstairs basement of my old house. But you may not be so lucky. You may have to go into the closet and pull out your guitar every time. And unfortunately, that's not optimal for playing. If you can, have your stuff ready to go. If you got to go into a closet and grab your amp, pull out your amp. And then you got to go to the guitar and grab it out of a case, a gig bag, or anything like that. It's got to be tuned up. Who knows? You may have to throw strings on it because it's been sitting in there for so long. You procrastinate, and you may not want to feel like you want to play that day. So throw on those injuries that we talked about in the previous tip, and now you're procrastinating and playing, and now it gets you into that circle where you kind of like just don't want to get going. So if you can, always have it out at the ready. That's why acoustic guitars are great. You have a guitar that's out there, you can leave it on the couch and don't have to plug it into anything. Just tune it up and go ahead and go play. All right, number 6 basically is setting goals for yourself. And when we talk about setting goals in the fire service, usually the incidents aren't too long, so it's maybe 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours. But for guitar playing, we could expand on that and say 30, 60, 90. What do you want to accomplish in your first 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, or a year? When you're setting these goals, you want to make sure that they're attainable for you. They're not unrealistic. Not like saying that in the first 30 days that I want to sound like Joe Satriani or John Petrucci. Probably not going to happen for most of us. So when you're setting those goals, you want to be as realistic as possible in mind. And that will also help you on what you're planning on targeting for the day. When you're setting out for these goals, you want to have little, maybe like sub goals for, this week I want to work on this chord progression. Next week I want to work on this scale, so on and so forth. Whether it's sight reading, which string do you want to work yourself your way up to? So just remember, don't put too much pressure on you, because that also is what is going to discourage you from playing guitar. Number 7, setting the mood. And I don't mean lowering the lights and putting on a smoking jacket. I mean, if that works for you, that's fine. Throwing out rose petals, hey, that's all the better. But really, it is tuning out to the world and just setting down for however long you're going to play, whether it's 10, 15 minutes, 2, 3 hours, that's great. But just tune out the world. All that stuff you got to do, whatever your significant other is nagging at you to do that day, just tune it out and just concentrate on what you want to do. If you're clouded in the mind and you're trying to practice guitar, you might be playing well for a little bit, and then all of a sudden you slip off because you start thinking, I got to go pick up the kids, or I got to go, study for this biology exam or things like that. So that is your time. Whatever you can set out to do that day, clear the mind, and you'll see some major progress. Number 8 goes along with that, is tracking your progress. Whether you use Excel spreadsheets, the cells, and you fill out like the day that you did something, or something that I'm going to commit to doing is have a composition notebook. This way you can't rip the pages out and get frustrated. But you write down what you found easy today, what you had accomplished, or what you need to work on. And then you can go back after a little while and you could see it and see how well you progress. There's not a lot of affirmation when you're playing by yourself the guitar, and not a lot of feedback unless your significant other or family members are saying, oh wow, that sounded really good today. They can hear you through the walls. So that book might be a little bit helpful. If you want to get glitter pens and unicorn stickers and throw it on there, have at it. But whatever you could do to track the progress, you'll be that much better for. Number 9 is taking sanity breaks. If you're playing for long periods of time, I suggest that you stop for a couple of minutes. Let the tension relax. Maybe pick up a video game or a Sudoku, crossword puzzle, Rubik's Cube, whatever you feel that will get your mind right again. It gets blood flowing to different parts of your body, gets your head thinking in different ways. And then when you go back and you start playing again, you'll find that something that might have been a little bit difficult 10 minutes ago might be a little bit easier. But also just gives you that little bit of a breather. Right. And then lastly, but not least, number 10 is following YouTubers. And I just don't mean the instructional ones like Justin Guitar or David Whaleman or things like that, Jam Play. There's so many gear review. Some of them are strictly professional and on point, maybe like Boss, like Official Pedals. But there's a lot of good YouTubers out there. For example, I'll shoot another video later down the road of some of my favorites, but just off the top of my head, Enterton's UK TV is a guitar store out in the UK, and they do these funny little videos along with this gentleman, Rob Chapman, who has a channel himself that is also very funny, and they do lighthearted gear reviews. They give you the content, but they also give you something that's funny. So it's not all just being in the moment of always learning a guitar, but at least you're still circling around the guitar and seeing things. The Tone King, another good gear review. And you find the one that works right for you or multiple ones that work right for you. You might identify with some of them that, really you feel like that, you could be friends with, or they're just like you. So, that I feel like definitely helps me kind of stay into playing with also not having to just watch a video on the circle of fifths, which will help you, but will also, definitely bore you at some point. So, well, I'd like to thank you for tuning in. And if you did like today's content, please subscribe and hit that notification bell, and you'll get notified when other videos come out. If this one video helps one person out there stay playing guitar and not falling off the wagon, then that's all of it's worth it. Just like in the fire department, we're out there to help people, and if we could just help one person a day, that's great. Hopefully future videos take off, and we could help you guys sense of community. This is your channel. Any suggestions you want to see, put them in the comments section, and we'll see if we could shoot a video on that too. So I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.